Good evening and welcome to the We Arise show. How you doing on this Hump Day Wednesday? Are you pissed off? I'm a little angry tonight, so I'm going to share that anger with you. I'm disgusted away the performative arts that are happening, that happen in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, how everything is performative, nothing is real, everything is fake and gay. You know, I was getting a haircut today, and the barber that was cutting my hair, he's a Latin guy. He's such a nice guy. And, he's like, dude, I was watching the World Cup. And it's like, dude, is it fake? I'm like, dude, I've been telling you, everything is fake. There is nothing as real anymore. The only thing that's real is that you're sitting here cutting my hair. Okay. And then when I pay you out, that's real to a certain degree. The reality of the situation is everything is performative. Everybody's on stage. Everybody's doing a show. Everybody is what? Nestled in with their little comfortability, viabilities, and their performance art, and everything else is staged. It's a stage to get you like hot and heated and let's just say emotionally unhinged. Yeah, it is. I think so. And I have a level of that discourse right now. I have a little level of frustration about how I feel about certain things. I'm just really we had four American soldiers come home. And this whole thing has really just threw me over. I mean, I'm just completely, I don't know how to say it. I'm absolutely disgusted. I'm repulsed. I'm sickened. I'm nauseated. I'm over this political performance art, this choreograph, this game. I'm just over it. I'm so sick of this shit, and we're trivializing this stuff. I have a lot to get into. Hello, pill.net. Hello, YouTube. Hello, everybody on Rumble. Tonight's show, please hold for mutual destruction. Please hold for mutual destruction. The knives are out. Yes, my knives are out. 18 is not 0, ladies and gentlemen. It is not. I know all these words are idioms in some way, and they have more meaning and causation. That's why I put these things out there for people to like, oh, that's interesting. I want people to understand. But they actually have causality. One bridge, one ship. We'll get to that tonight. But I want to start off tonight with a statement. I want to start off with my opening greeting to you all, my opening sentiments about how I feel about everything that's going on. If you want to support the platform, like, share, and subscribe. You guys all know what to do, so I'm not going to tell you what to do. You can like, subscribe, and share. You can do whatever you can to donate, support the platform. But I'm gonna give you my feelings tonight, my sentiment, because I am upset. I'm deeply broken as someone that has family that was in the military, that are out, previous members that died from that. I had friends that died in the Iraq War. I am absolutely broken with the discussion that I have to now, let's just say, discuss. I am so angry right now that what had transpired yesterday between people pushing back on the Secretary of War and many different things that were following, the performance art was just embarrassing. And we're reaching a tipping point where President Trump, who was in Georgia today, said, John Thune, hey, he's got his last straw with that motherfucker. He's ready and throw the grenade in. That's what we all are. That's what it's coming. We're ready to and toss the grenade. Democrats, I don't even want to talk to a Democrat or a Democrat socialist. They have mental disease. And the way they act and their response about the honored dead is fucking disgusting. If it was legal to kill these motherfuckers, I would be out there hunting them. They're hunting us. And it's time we flip this script. I don't care about MAGA, America First. I want these people dead. These people make me fucking sick. While they fucking collect interest and trade stock options, they make so much money. But yet 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 29-year-olds get obliterated serving in the military. And their response is just what? Hyperbolic. It's never them. It's never on them. Let me read you my statement tonight. And I want you to be clear. I want to be clear about how I feel. I'm absolutely disgusted. My fellow Americans, patriots, and Gold Star families, we stand here with heavy hearts and clear eyes. Today, we honor 18 American warriors who paid the ultimate price. No spin, no excuses, just truth. Hard-hitting statement, enough. While we bury another wave of American heroes, First Lieutenant Tyler Freeman, 25, Private Isabella Gonzalez, 19, Sergeant Angel Repersad, 28, and Sergeant Michael Swinton, 30, and 14 others that died fighting in this Iran conflict, Democrats are already dancing on their fucking graves. For political points, Senator Tammy Duckworth and others are out there declaring, Trump started this. Trump has no plan. The blood is on his hands. They're turning solemn, dignified transfers into campaign attack ads. That's not leadership. That's ghoulish politicization, trivializing the sacrifice of our best young men and women so they can score cable news clips, Twitter likes. These are the same people who spent years cheerleading, voting for, and owning the disasters in Iraq and Afghanistan. Where were you when thousands of Americans were dying and getting maimed in Iraq? Many of them voted for the authorization, hyped the WMD intelligence, then spent the next decade calling it the Bush's war, while the body bags kept coming over. 4,000 dead U.S. troops, tens of thousands wounded, trillions wasted. You didn't demand immediate withdrawal when it was politically inconvenient. You used the casualties, as you're doing today, as a club against Republicans. Where were you in Afghanistan, the forever war? You called the good war. You own the surges, the nation building, fantasy, and then the humiliating 21 withdrawal under Biden that left 13 more Americans dead in Kabul and one dead in an airport full of chaos, billions of weapons handed to the Taliban, no endless hearings or blood on their hands, rhetoric when it was your team in charge, just excuses and deflection. Now with 18 dead in the current fight against Iran, suddenly it's all incompetence and end it now. The selective outrage is disgusting. American lives aren't political props to be mourned loudly when it hurts the other side. Every administration that sends troops into harm's way owns the risks, the successes, the failures, and the body counts. But pretending your hands are clean on Iraq and Afghanistan while screaming bloody murder today exposes the hypocrisy and the opportunism. The troops deserve a serious strategy, overwhelming force when needed, clear objectives, leaders who support them in the fight, not fair weather patriots who weaponize their deaths for the next election cycle. Honor the fallen by telling the whole truth, not convenient parts. No more games with American blood. May God comfort the families of the fallen and grant our nation the resolve to stop treating their sacrifice as what? As a fucking football game. That's my thoughts for tonight. I am deeply, deeply bothered by what I've seen, what I've heard over the last 2 days. I had to, I was trying to figure out how I was going to do the show because I don't know how to let my anger out, I had to bike about 10 miles, hit the bag a little bit, do some stuff that, would in some way unleash the anger, the frustration that I have. I am completely disgusted just because of everything that has transpired in the last 2 days. And we're going to cover that. I know some of you guys have seen that. And I know other things have been, let's just say, laid out to play. And I missed that. But I have other things I want to cover into. So let's cover a little bit tonight. I'm going to get into it. Let's start with this. And I'll put this up there. Let's get to the widget. You want to support the platform. That's great. All right. Let's get to all of it tonight. Okay, let's start off with this. So apparently, we got some news. We got some interesting news. This came out today. We'll cover some of the President Trump's speeches. I'm not going to cover all of that. I'm going to cover a little bit about that. But breaking, the House just passed a bill to ban members of Congress and their spouses for trading individual stocks, 232 to 198. That's progress. All right. When it gets to the Senate, I don't know what's going to happen. But at least the House passes bills that you and I like. There's also a national vote ID attached to that Wow. This is long overdue. Sorry, Pelosi. I think it's fantastic. Anything they could do. Any bill you want to attach to that makes it right about voter ID, do it. Do it. It doesn't even matter. Here's something else that came out today before we get into the stuff that I was, let's just say, opining about. And I hope you're sharing with that sympathy about how I felt. And if you missed it, you need to go back and watch it. Thank you for the nice shirt. I appreciate it.
100% of the time. No wonder why the prediction markets and the conventional wisdom have moved so rapidly once Trump made that endorsement, because at least in Senate races, Trump's record this year, 100%. And since 2022, nearly 100%. There has never been somebody I have seen as powerful in terms of their ability to move the electorate in primaries than the current president of the United States, Donald John Trump.
What's one reason for that?
One reason why is because Trump is still very popular with Republicans. Just take a look
yes,
here.
He is.
21st century own party approval rating, about at this point in second term. We got Trump, we got Obama, we got Bush. Look, they're all fairly popular, but the one who is the most popular, and we have seen this time in and time out, no matter when you look, is Donald John Trump. He's the only one who's over 80%. 83% of Republicans still approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing as president. He still has that magic touch. We'll see if it carries over to South Carolina, but we've seen it in primaries this year, Senate primaries, and that's because he is still a very popular man, historically popular when it comes to his own party.
Yeah, he's historically popular, but it's beyond popularity anymore. We're moving into the position where it's everybody else versus Trump. You're seeing the machinations that are happening in the Senate, between the Democrats and Republicans. You're seeing everything that happens in the House. He only has, I would say, a certain plurality of the majority in the House. Do you understand that? That's what it is that supports him. But it doesn't matter. Every time he touches someone's shoulder, hat tips them, wink and a nod, they automatically become what? A viable candidate to win their elected position in their certain district. So it's not uncumbersome that these things are higher than what they're being talked about. No one's wanting to recognize this. People are very scared that every time President Trump says, there you go, I'm in on you, okay, that person wins. And that's huge. It's massive. And we'll get to all that a little bit later, but I want to cover a little bit of more stuff. Here's President Trump today in Georgia speaking, and he rips John Thune. He rips the Senate. The Senate, let me tell you right now, most of the senators don't like President Trump. He's probably got a handful. Mike Lee, Rick Scott, a couple of people. He had Lindsey Graham. That's why he's supporting Lindsey Graham's sister. All right, and she's in the lead, and she's probably going to win the August 11th runoff. And the August 11th primary, and then, the runoff, and then the primary in the 25th. And people are like, oh my God, it's just nepotism. The governor selected her, not President Trump. Remember that. And if you want to bitch and moan, change the 17th Amendment. But all these people on X that are fence sitters, libertarians and stuff, they're just pulling their hair out. Change the law. You can't change the law unless you change it bicamerally and use 3/4 of the state legislatures. Never going to happen. We'll never get a constitutional amendment in this country ever again. We won't, because we can't agree on dog shit. We can't. Okay? And the way people are these days, vitriolic, angry, frustrated, got the knives out. I'm ready for war. I am ready for war. Someone said the other day, it's like, MAGA's not like that. Fuck that! We need to take a flamethrower to these motherfuckers. And here's President Trump telling John Thune, your time is about to be clocked on an egg timer, motherfucker.
And finally, we have to pass the Save America Act to defend American elections. And I have to say, Mike Johnson and Congress have done a great job, but we're having a hard time in the Senate. The Senate, what they're doing is just,
here we go.
It's just not right. Congress is going to pass it again. They passed it 3 times. They're going to pass it again. It's like the Senate is a place that you send things when you want them to die. we can't do this, and we're not going to take this any longer. We're not going to take it. You know,
Why
I'm trying
should
to
you?
be nice, trying to be really nice. You saw we had a big victory last night in
Is he really trying to be
Arizona.
nice,
I've had
or is he
victories
just
everywhere.
trying to be gracious?
But
That
we're
doesn't
not
mean
gonna-
shit anymore.
We're not going to be able
I
to
don't
take
care
it
about
much
nice.
longer. When they can't get past voter ID, proof of citizenship, no mail-in ballots because they're crooked. as
Fuck
hell.
nice!
So right now, Congress is working
Nah.
to get as much of our plan as possible into the budget bill to identify and really terminate. Look, what they should do, very simple. A lot of you don't know about filibuster. They should terminate the filibuster and approve everything. Because the Democrats are going to do it.
We'll be lucky if
The
that happens.
Democrats
I
are
just
going to
don't-
terminate the filibuster
don't
as
see
soon
it
as they have a chance. And then they're going to approve Puerto Rico and D.C. as a state. They got 4 more senators. They're
That's
going
probably
to
gonna
end up with
happen.
12 more congressmen.
If we lose the
They're going to
Senate.
get at like 40 electoral votes. If they are allowed to do that, by that time I'll be sitting home. And I'm not a big crier. I don't think you want to see me cry, you know? There are some people, they do very well when they cry. But you don't want to see me cry. But I may be crying when
Yeah.
I'll
His
be sitting
crying
home
is
and I'll
what?
say, I told
Seething.
them, they got to really terminate the filibuster.
That's what he's
get
saying.
Everything approved
You don't want to
right
see
away.
me cry.
Because you're going to
You
have
think
a
this guy
stoppage.
cries?
You're going to have a stoppage in September. The Democrats won't approve everything. They become deranged, like deranged Jack Smith. Remember that deranged sick puppy? They're deranged, and they won't approve. You're going to have a shutdown in September, and in 2 years later, you have the debt ceiling bill. They would love it. I call it the 1929. You know what 1929 means? That was not a good year, and there's no reason for it.
Black
They should
Swan event.
terminate the filibuster. Everybody call John Thune at the Senate. He's the leader of the Republican Party, and tell him to get this stuff approved.
So he's angry. He's lashing out. So there's just probably a little bit amount of time that this type of anger and frustration and vitriol is going to, let's just say, rise to the occasion, rise to the top, and things are going to get hairy and ugly. I'm going to jump around a little bit, but my opening statement on how I felt today about how the politicization that's going on and everything that is happening regarding the forest service troops that came, American soldiers that came home. I'm absolutely just livid. I'm livid because, not because they're dead, obviously, but at how they're actually being used performatively, being used as a puppet, as a doll to play around. These are dead American honored soldiers, and you're playing games. I'm sick of it. I'm just sick of it. I'm just beyond myself about how I felt about this stuff. And President Trump is owning it. And yet you have Democrat senators and congressmen that have no self-control. They have no self-control. And my opening statement, you can go back and watch it. You'll understand that. President Trump attends a dignified transfer of the 4 American troops. We'll play a little bit about this. We'll move on. I got more. There's no sound on this. I have more video about this. I don't know about you. I've had friends that died in Iraq and in Afghanistan. It bothers me to no end. People I grew up with, people I hung out with, knew the families. When you see this, it makes me, I'm saddened. But when you politicize this stuff and you bring this over the top and you take this to another level to attack the Secretary of War and, you know, and many other people inside of this and call out the administration and then play agitprop games of politicization regarding these wars, just like what they did in Iraq and Afghanistan, makes me sick. Okay. I'm not going to share any more of that. I mean, I don't want to read into it more because there's more of that, and I'll show you of how this was recorded, and you could see this and how it was honored behind the scenes. So this was honored. Absolutely beautiful moment. You'll see one of them. It's not all of it. They're at the airport picking them up, and watch the people there saluting the fallen. That was great. You can hear that. It was at the airport where they were picking up. I think it was at Dover. And a lot of people in the crowd were, very solemn about this event, and they should be. Let me say a couple of things. The scale is smaller than past wars, and every American death remains serious national cost and treasure that should never be waved again. Waved away, make it pixie dust. Don't sit there and say that it's okay. Don't sit there and say this or that. Make it a campaign rally. Don't do this on the Senate floor. And they did this. They did this. I just want to throw grenades at these motherfuckers. The Iran conflict, as of mid-July 2026, roughly 18 to 20 U.S. service members killed about 4 months. Afghanistan, 2,300 to 2,400 over 20 years. Iraq, 4,400 to 4,500 over roughly 9 years. Vietnam, 58,220. Korea, 36,704. Venezuela, nobody died, one arrested. And then you have these 18 individuals under the Trump administration. Tell me what dichotomy you're trying to transpose here. Tell me how you're trying to make that causal connection in some way that President Trump is setting up a forever war. Tell me how you're doing this. Tell me why you're doing this. We know why, because it's political season. It's too hot to handle, too cold to hold. So you know what? What do? We minimize all this stuff. We blame the administration. We undercut them and say, you know what? No one wants this war. We want to destroy it. We want to use this as a political talking point, even though 4 people came home dead today because of Iran, not because of us. And they've been killing us for years, decades. And the Democrats want to turn around and say, yeah, you know what? You started this. We started this. President Trump started this. That's how their attitude is. They're never, ever going to what? Suggest and proliferate our military, give them the money they need while they're all on what? On deck about handing gobs of money to what? Ukraine. That's not a problem. Give Ukraine money. Here we are right now. Trump is accused of minimizing the Iran war. And I wonder why that is. I'm not going to play this video. I got more. President Trump is facing criticism for a truth on post to minimize the death of 18 U.S. service members killed since the start of the Iran war. He attended a dignified transfer on Wednesday for the 4 most recent casualties. The fact that people are not really talking about this or not giving their respect, they can go fuck off and die. I don't want to talk to anybody who doesn't want to give time podcasting shows, that doesn't want to give respect for these young 4 brave people that were outside the beltway, so to speak, of Iran's targeted attacks, which they did in what? Jordan and in Iraq and many other people. But you know what? Fuck them. You want to talk about Lindsey Graham's gay mafia in D.C. and all these other bullshit? I don't care about that stuff. Don't. In his Tuesday post, Trump compared the Iran conflict's death toll with those of the past U.S. wars, listing figures from Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, Korea, alongside military actions. He wrote, and I played it out earlier, on Wednesday, Trump courted controversy once again when he appeared to dismiss the conflict as what? As a skirmish, all right? But yet, they didn't say that. Where were they for Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq, Afghanistan, and all these other wars? They weren't there. They were there in many other ways as opportunists and what? Hypocrites. Former supporter Marjorie Taylor Greene, another batshit fucking piece of shit cunt, said Trump was bragging about killing you. You know what? Listen, honey, if you're going swimming in the ocean, you better bring some gear because you might disappear just like Obama's chef. I mean, what the fuck are you saying, honey? California Governor Newsom, here's another dog shit piece of shit scumbag, called the president a disgusting little man. Listen, when I start to see the 2 most reviled people in our country, yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Governor Newsom, in that, let's just say, literal comparison, then you understand where this is coming. Here's another one. Brian Krassenstein, another bagel, said Trump was minimizing 18 soldiers who have died from his stupid war. Understandingly, why behind the scenes, they are, him and fucking Bibi and all these other people are promoting this stuff behind the scenes. Chuck Schumer called the post beneath contempt. Chris Van Hollen said Trump was downplaying the loss of American lives. Do you see the perception management, the deception management, the agitprop? They're all using these 4 dead service members for their own what? Viability, plausibility, to placate on this and then have this to sell this to you and I. And we're not buying it as what? A political attack. And I'll get to it further. I'm going to move on to a couple other things, but I'm completely disgusted of how things are. Let me just read you a little bit more. I mean, the absolute finality for the dead and the permanent damage to wounded and their families, the strategic moral signal, the United States, again, putting people in harm's way for a set of objectives. And if those objectives are not achieved, or if those conflicts expands, the current low count becomes the early chapter of a what? Longer ledger. Like I said, we're not stacking bodies, okay? That's the point. They weren't, where were they with Iraq and Afghanistan? They weren't doing it. But now they're doing it, and no one's saying that 18 is not 0 or 18 is not 1. But the point is and stuff, any type of cross-examination or comparison leads people to this understanding. They forget what just happened with 13 service members under Biden just recently with Afghanistan, when they just dipped out and left and those people were killed. That's okay. And they pivoted from that and they continue on to what? Sell us that narrative. All right, moving on. Yeah, I'm just not happy about a lot of things, what I'm seeing. I'm frustrated. I hope you guys are. I'll get to you guys' comments and stuff. Good to see everybody out there. Yeah, I'm trying to drop the hammer, pork chop Billy. Here he is. Anna Paulina Luna says this. Communist China helped overthrow U.S. government without a shot being fired. If Americans truly knew the stuff they were being briefed on, it would be ugly. Let's listen.
We're investigating the Biden administration and his son's business dealings. There was a lot of money coming in from China. And that wasn't the only, if the American people truly knew some of the stuff that we were briefed in classified settings on how bought and paid for the Biden administration was by China, I think that the word would be probably treasonous.
Wow.
Because essentially they were selling out the country, and really, if you want to talk about, taking over without a shopping fire, this was the entire strategy of what the Chinese government was doing with the Biden administration, and no one seemed to care, right? And so you have an administration that's been very actively kind of taking this head on, but there is a lot of foreign-funded spy operations. We're investigating the Biden administration and his son's.
That's funny. Alphabet Omega. How many IDF soldiers died? I know. How many shekels does she get? I get you. I'm not dismissing who Anna Paulina Luna is. Don't get me wrong about what it is. But she makes a good point covering that. But you're exactly right to call out the shekel grabs that we find ourselves in. All right, let's continue on. I just don't want to belabor it. I got pages and pages of stuff. Here's part of the grift and the grab. President Trump is now sharing declassified documents on Truth about True Social proving major foreign election. Let me blow this up if I can. All right, let me see if I can do that. Yeah, we got it. Well, it won't let me. Okay. Let me share it with you in some way, because I don't know if I could see it either. Foreign states and other actors may seek what? Compromise in our election, blah, blah, blah. About the validity, we judge Russia, China, Iran. It says here, we assess that Russia is using a range of measures, primarily to denigrate foreign Vice President Biden. For example, it is directing and encouraging proxies to spread claims about Vice President Biden. Some Kremlin leaked actors are also seeking to boost President Trump's candidacy, blah, blah, blah. We assess China prefers President Trump to be defeated in the past months. So what we're seeing here is that they're releasing the intelligence that has been put together, the threats that they kept out of the presidential briefs, the daily briefs. And those are the things that you're seeing more and more, the information. Here's another commentary from this comes from the Skift, and we start to see more and more of this stuff coming out because, look, there's a confluence of all these different events that were happening. The FBI asked spy agencies to destroy intel on the Chinese plot to aid Joe Biden. Wow. Now that Trump declassified the documents and everything we were told turned out to be true after these years, and they gaslit everybody. Let's listen a little bit.
That China might have been sending fake driver's licenses in to create fake mail-in ballots to help Joe Biden win. Last night I got the text of the memo. I put it up for everybody so you can read it at justthenews.com. There's a busting headline in here. When the FBI called this back, so they have this intel, it's corroborated by the licenses that are intercepted by Customs and Border in Border Protection in Chicago, but they call it back anyways and decide we're just not going to investigate this because this would look good for Trump, bad for Biden. They ask all intelligence agencies to destroy the intelligence report that the FBI actually sent them. As a Federal Records Act, you're not supposed to
incinerate it,
but they wanted it destroyed. Why? Because they probably didn't want it to leak out before the election that China preferred Joe Biden over Donald Trump. 60 Minutes aired a piece with the head of the Homeland Security Cybersecurity Division saying there were no foreign intrusions in the 2020 election. It was a perfectly clean election, he said. I think it was Chris Krebs was his name. We now know that to have been a false proclamation. First, we know a year later in 21, a bunch of Iranians were indicted in Manhattan on charges that they interfered in the election and hacked into a state database to obtain voter IDs and use them in a mal-influence operation against the American election.
Well, we did subpoena Mike Frontera, Dominion's lawyer, but they found a way to not let us have our witnesses. What Jenna did, though, that since at least June, those
Secretary of State of Colorado,
670 of them from 63 counties out of the 64 counties in Colorado have been on the public website for the Secretary of State, which means they were out there for anybody to grab.
Hey.
She should be locked up, and they should throw away the key and let me loose.
Yeah, we need a prisoner swap.
Yeah, for sure.
So you think that this election in Colorado was definitely compromised because of the leaked passwords?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
I mean, in Mesa County, they were finding fraudulent ballots.
Tina Peters
they
is
were
in jail
finding,
discussing
the
this.
Same person was signing the
This is
ballot
amazing.
envelopes, and they brushed it off like it was nothing. And as a matter of fact, what Jenna Griswold did with the passwords, she knew while I was
She
going
put
through
it out
the
over
trial
the internet.
that was out there and did nothing.
So those passwords were leaked out there during your trial before your sentencing.
On purpose.
They were out there since June,
Yeah.
but she knew about it and didn't tell the clerks about it. And now she's apologizing to the clerks. She should apologize to the American people.
Because
or
the
at least
clerks
people
are
in
probably going to
Colorado.
get picked up
But there were other
in a
passwords
random
besides
squeeze.
just for Colorado, I've heard, for the United States in there for Dominion machines.
So you think some of our other elections in other states could be compromised because of leaked passwords for the Dominion machines?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what's going on with the cartel in Arizona and Michigan. And, you know, I was so happy when I saw Florida for Trump and all these other places. But just remember, Dominion's headquarters is in Colorado, Denver, Colorado.
Yes.
And also, most people don't know that Dominion is out of Serbia as well. And then and if you can play that video by Gary Brunson,
Yeah.
the 30-year CIA whistleblower, you will, or look at the transcript, you'll see exactly how this all started with Hugo Chavez in Venezuela. And that's why this stuff with Patrick Byrne and all that's coming out, it leads all the way back to Venezuela.
There you go. So now you understand why Maduro was picked up. You understand that Serbia, all these different countries were involved. They have servers. They had all these different things that were involved that were participating in this stuff. This was a good one. This is also part of my show tonight. I want to show you a little bit of this because I want to get into other things. I saw this. This was fantastic.
Dude, we're all in agreement that it is incorrect.
This is really good.
The 2020 election was stolen.
She's been
What about
speaking on her book tour.
election?
Jean-Pierre, the perfume lady, dirty perfume lady from Bloomingdale's.
Stolen election.
It was stolen.
Stolen. He's an illegitimate president. He's an illegitimate president.
Yeah.
Pretending to be president.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that he beat you?
Because he didn't.
1/3 of Clinton
he did.
supporters say Trump election
So if he
is
didn't,
not legitimate.
And their elections are stolen, then you have to admit that.
You
Then
are
you
absolutely
can't
right.
play it
You can
both
run the
ways.
best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
Yeah.
The 2016 election was stolen.
It's
Got a
only
nicer
stolen
way to
when it's
say
convenient for
Say
them.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked our election.
Russia hacked our elections.
A little louder, please.
Russia hacked our election. That was a 9/11 scale event.
This was a
Oh,
kind of
9/11.
cyber 9/11 American
Cyber
institutions.
9/11.
Yes.
Russia hacked our election.
Russia, of course, hacked our election here.
Half of Clinton's voters believe the conspiracy theory that Russia hacked Election Day votes.
We know that they were into voting rolls, actual interference with the elections themselves. We know it happened.
Despite no credible evidence, 67% of Democrats believe Russia tampered with vote tallies.
Hacking the U.S. election.
Hacking the U.S. election.
Russia hacked our election. The Russians hacked our election.
Russia hacked our election.
So why is it okay that 67% that Russia hacked the elections, but when we say the 2020 election was stolen, and it's overwhelmingly that we're cuckoo batshit crazy? See, why is that? Because this fucking trans dyke, okay, this fake gay woman who's got a fucking penis, these are the people that push this narrative, sell this narrative, this agitprop, this propaganda, this perception management. It's okay when it fits your narrative, okay? It's not okay when it fits somebody else's narrative and it's backed up by fact. That's the problem. That's why the media has to be what? Taken down. It has to be. The only way to bifurcate all this stuff is to pull the licenses when it's ready or readily necessary or viable. Let's continue on.
Our election. Russian hacking of our election.
Hacking of our election.
Russia
That
hacked our
guy's dead.
elections. Russia hacked our elections.
Stolen election.
Russia hacked our election.
Russia hacked our election.
universal assessment that Russia hacked our election in 2016.
Foreign governments hacked our elections.
Most young Americans consider Donald Trump an illegitimate president. Illegitimate president.
He's an illegitimate president.
Why is he illegitimate? He just won an election.
He's an illegitimate president in my mind. That's it.
I absolutely agree.
Experts urge Clinton Camp to challenge election results.
We will see how illegitimate his victory actually was. He's an illegitimate president.
Russia hacked our election. Russians hacking our election.
Hacked our election.
Biden
Russia
got
hacking
81
our
million
election.
votes, more than Obama.
As a legitimate president.
Trump is an illegitimate president who stole the election.
He is not a president.
He's illegitimate. And my biggest fear is that he's going to do it again with the help of Vlad, his best pal. It's terrifying.
Would you be my vice presidential candidate?
Hillary Clinton voters called to overturn election results.
More than 4 million people have already signed a petition on change.org, calling for the electors of the Electoral College to, quote, ignore their states' votes and cast their ballots for Secretary Clinton.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016.
We are the victims of a bloodless coup. He didn't win the general election.
Yo, Electoral College, make Hillary Clinton president, period.
Donald Trump is an illegitimate president.
Illegitimate president.
Dems don't accept Trump as a legitimate president.
This wasn't on the level. This election was not on the level.
I don't think he's a legitimate president.
Our election wasn't legit.
He got his victory from cheating.
Yes, Trump cheated. Trump cheated the 2016 election.
He's an illegitimate president.
No validity, no credibility.
And because of that,
Anger at what some see as an illegitimate president.
It will not be a peaceful change of power.
a number of incidents turned violent. Protesters hurled trash cans, flash bombs, and objects at police.
Karma, get ready.
Protesters threw
I
rocks and
want
smashed
more.
windows, leading to more
I want it.
confrontations, injuries, and arrests.
The chaotic.
You want a civil war? You want it? Bring it. Let's go. It's hunting season. I want it. I want it. I want it so bad I could taste it. There's so many different appetites that I want that I don't think it's going to happen as grotesque as it's going to be because it's going to be quelled. But are we going to be able to see the sparks and all the other stuff happen? Well, yeah. The leftists are unhinged. And the more and more we push into Iran as it gets decimated or obliterated or it goes all crumbling down like Mr. Potato Head, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? But all the leftists, they know what's coming. They plan for this. That's why I said, be careful, because there are certain things that are not being discussed properly, like the cyclospore, the Legionnaires that's happening in the air conditioning vents in New York. I think some of these things are, let's just say, malfeasance coupled with some type of domestic terrorism, but no one's calling it out. Everybody's thinking, no, it's just natural. It doesn't mean anything. It's not happening in its way. Legionnaires' disease happens all the time in New York because of bad ventilation and the timing and the year, because that's what it is. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. I believe that the socialists, the Marxists, the really deep people that are involved about trying to take down this country will do everything they can to kill as many people as they can that look like you and I, just a little bit older. Yeah, they don't fucking care. If you think these people care and you're living in New York about you and you're white, you need to get the fuck out. Or Jewish in some way. I mean, I'm not talking Israeli. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. I mean, who cares, right? Doesn't matter. Here we go. Another person with sane commentary who I listen to quite a bit. I read a lot of his stuff. I've written about this architecture before now. Bassett is saying out loud, find the Ayatollah's money, trace the wallets, map the properties, and address the what? Publish it. This is not symbolic sanctions. It's the regime hidden in the financial system being converted into an audible target map. The crypto freeze proves the trail was never truly hidden. Iranian oil CCP buyers, China, shell companies, or Shell itself, offshore banks, trust, and the City of London financial plumbing. All of it can be traced and exposed, frozen and seized. Epic fury hits military structure. Economic fury hits the financial bloodstream connecting Tehran, Beijing, and London. Oh, SpaghettiOs. Let's listen to the great Treasury Secretary Scott
most, if not
Bassett.
all, of their capability to rebuild. And then we moved on to what we call economic fury. And that's a 1-2 punch. It's the blockade. And then what we're doing at Treasury, and we are tracking these accounts all over the world. We froze a crypto wallet to the IRGC the other day, about $130 million. We have found the money man for the Ayatollah, and we are tracking the Ayatollah's properties around the world. We hope to soon be able to print his $100 million
print that
properties and show the addresses. And we're preserving this money for the American people, but
preserving it.
We are constricting the regime. Their currency has collapsed. It is at an all-time low versus the dollar. It's in free fall. And we think the inflation rate is upwards of 180% in most.
Wow, and they're holding the money. A lot of this money we're not going to see. What Bassett is saying, we're holding all this money, and the transparency that's going to follow, because he didn't say that, but that's what he was trying to say, is going to be for those people. And that's what it is. It's not about us or you and I. It's about them. All that stuff that was hidden offshore, just like Cuba does. And we're going to invade Cuba very soon and make Cuba an example. Lawfare, the Muse, the Democrat-controlled D.C. Circuit of Court Appeals ruled Joe Biden's effort to keep records with his ghostwriter secret. Will we finally hear what is on those tapes? We're going to hear an incoherent, non-cogent, mentally retarded person who's playing this part to showcase what a fucking buffoon he is, thus to elevate and recreate the narrative that he couldn't get 81 million votes, he couldn't beat Obama in this matter, and thus driving home, wait a minute, this is the guy that won this election in 2020. You have to show the people, you have to explain to people, and listen to how these people are from the recordings, because people will start to wake up and say, it's just not possible. It's just not possible, because they were detracted and deflected during COVID. They had so many different psyops that were running simultaneously during that time. Now, when people have a little bit more time in their hands with a partition to look at this and say, well, yeah, it's not possible. Did they steal the election? Well, with this guy, obviously. Who is this guy? We're probably going to see many different people argue that narrative and saying, this is not a guy I voted for, and how this guy got elected and what we were showcased, the bottom of the basement, so to speak, not going to be probable. I mean, I think the normie NPC class is about to see something that they were told that was a complete farce. Let's continue on. All right. Yeah. So here's a couple other things. We'll get to more election fraud as I move on. I got a variety of different things. I'm jumping around based upon the time, but I just want to share with you a lot of different. All right, here we go. So here's this updated DHS. This comes from the SCIF. Indicate that there were a total of 35,152 non-citizen registered in the vote of New Jersey from the original 6,600 that we were told just 2 days ago. Purge the voter rolls and pass the Save America Act. Let's listen to this.
Within New Jersey's Department of Motor Vehicles.
It's ugly. This is ugly.
6,000 non-U.S. citizens.
But yet, when you have people on The View belly aching and using that agitprop to dispel any narratives, doesn't happen, and they downplay it. Oh, it's minuscule. It's 0.2%. No, that's the problem we face. We have too many different people pushing certain, let's just say, adjunct, agitprop, perception and deception management onto the American people. People get what? They get unraveled. And you're not really selling. If you're not going to tell the American public the truth, then you need to go bye-bye. And I think that's ultimately where we're going with this. But by exposing media outlets for not expressing this, and that's why OAN does a great job of doing that.
Register to vote. That's according to Governor Mikey Sherrill on Tuesday. She says the system error happened between June 2023 and June of 2024.
When New Jerseyans applied for a driver's license or identification at the MVC, they were asked if they wanted to register to vote. In the case of this error, some individuals indicated that they weren't citizens and weren't eligible to vote, but the software registered them anyway.
Approximately 6,600 non-citizens were said to be registered, with preliminary evidence indicating fewer than 400 individuals cast ballots.
They were registered as Democrats, Republicans, and the majority unaffiliated, and were scattered across the state.
Cheryl emphasizes while this happened well before she assumed office, this is unacceptable. The governor said the vendor responsible for the system will be replaced and vowed to take...
She's covering for them. They know it's far worse and more pervasive, but she's covering for them. And these people that allowed this, they knew full well they were knowingly responsible of doing such, let's just say, egregious acts, and she's covering for them. She knows that she has to distance herself because she wasn't elected around this time when this was happening, even though this will blow back on her. So she has to what? Shed more light on it and give that a lot of room to breathe like a fucking nice Pinot. All right. She has to say, all right, boom, we got to remove these people and let the Justice Department, Harmony Dillon and other people come in, because she doesn't want the blowback on them. But it does expose how elections are rigged, and it goes through the Department of Motor Vehicles 100%. They're handing out driver's licenses in many different places, even in Florida, illegally to a lot of different people, but doesn't mean they are right. Okay, those driver's licenses are illegitimate because you're not a birthright citizen. You came on the back door, and people that are handing you licenses, whether with your name or not, you're going to just dip out. You're going to hit somebody from behind. You don't care. You don't have insurance. You're going to hurt somebody, kill somebody and stuff. My mom got into a serious car accident I have to deal with. All right. Lucky the guy was, an American citizen and blah, 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 and all this stuff. She's got an attorney. I told her what to do. I mean, you don't want to be an advocate on my side, because if I was an attorney, I'm burning down fucking whatever. I'm burning it all down. But the idea that we're sitting here and saying that the governor's like, oh, we're doing the right thing. No, bitch, you're distancing yourself from the reality of what's coming that's about to fucking dick slap you in the face. That is the problem. That's what she is facing. Because now the realization of understanding is that out the slow drip drop is ever professing, it continues on. Let me move on and get into the ugly side of a lot of stuff. Here's some of the hearings that happened either today or yesterday, and that's part of my show that I want to discuss, because honestly, I fucking hate them. I hate every fucking person that considers themselves a lefty, a Democrat. You love abortions, well then you should die. You love this, you love that. I mean, I think that my patience, my viability, my concern, however I perceive to look at you, is waning, is failing. When I look at you, you are less of a human and more of something else. Okay, that's what I start to see. I start to see caricatures of somebody that really shouldn't be roaming the earth or roaming my neighborhood. We're just roaming reality in general. When I start to see people and hear how they speak their wisdom, you get who they are. And I will say this again. This administration, whether it's behind the scenes or not, have to show us an actual, let's just say, a vacation plan for these people. A rollout of, I don't think we're going to see it. I just don't think we're going to see any of this stuff. Okay? You're going to hear about some things. This administration, as we were told by a certain letter of the alphabet and a number, we're not going to know or hear anything that's germane, that's going to, let's just say, increase our object or subjectivity about how we feel about these people. Stay patient, stay objective, stay smart, whatever. I mean, honestly, there's not a day that goes by that I want to throw a grenade in this motherfucker's house. So here's this fucking piece of shit, probably Asian, Chinese Asian, who's a traitor. Listen to what he says to what? Ambassador Mike Waltz.
Yeah. I'm here as the UN ambassador, but I'm happy to refer you to Pete Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth's testimony yesterday.
It's ugly.
In your opening statement, you bragged about doing a Security Council resolution on Iran. So yes, Iran is in your.
This guy is worried, man. He is highly worried because I do believe in some way he is also one of these people like, let's just say Mitch McConnell's wife. We're going to find out that very soon. But listen to how he tries to push this onto Mike Waltz. It's just laughable. And if you missed my opening conversation tonight, you need to go back and watch it because I don't know, I'm losing my voice. I'm so angry. Like this guy, I just want to take a baseball bat and break his head open with an egg foo young. I do. All I see is like cracking his head open and open and open and seeing some like Chinese shell come out. It's disgusting. These people make me sick. They should in some way implore you to understand is that our reality of life doesn't even matter anymore. It doesn't even exist in the world perception anymore. Everybody is what? A fucking actor, a gamer, someone that is motivated to rip you off and steal from you. And this motherfucker reeks of it. He smells of what? Dead, rotten fish.
A job responsibility. Focus on it and focus on the troops that have been wounded and killed. Do not be so callous with the safety and lives of American troops. I'm going to ask you again: Are U.S. troops currently stationed? Are U.S. troops currently stationed in Jordan? Are U.S. troops currently stationed in Jordan?
Yes, they are.
Elected. I will.
You should. Try.
November is coming for you and this administration. Are U.S. troops stationed in Jordan? It's not even a trick question.
This is a spring roll. I can't wait to fucking pop open.
Donald Trump doesn't
I look at this spring roll right here.
U.S. troops. Do you trust them? Who are we going to have protect U.S. troops? They are exposed right now in the Middle East, repeatedly being exposed to Iranian missiles
when they died
and missile strikes and drones. You don't even know how many U.S. troops were wounded in this Iran war. Shame on you for.
See these people? You see the performative art that they're doing? Shame on them. I will split that fucking egg roll open. Every fucking Chinese person in this country, whether in Congress or this all stuff, is a spy. Let's just get that out there. They're spies. There's no way of not proving or disproving that narrative. Prove me otherwise to show me they're not a spy. They got to go. That motherfucker should be split open like an egg roll. I'm moving on. I digress. But let me say this. Again, the idea that they continue on utilizing this repulsive and sickening action to suggest that we don't care, or the administration is that, where were they during Afghanistan pullout? Okay? When they basically shot their load and they pulled out, and then 13 servicemen were killed, and we left all this equipment. What happened with that? Not to mention how they sold the argument over the Bush war. We got Obama, and then selling the same narrative over and over again, trying to steal it for Rotten Box Clinton in 2016 to say, oh, it was Bush's war. It's not our war. We don't own it. We don't care about the dead. That's how they what? Look, they don't fucking give a shit. They don't give a flying fuck. Look, listen, I'm going to tell you right now. I hope it's open season and they get taken out. I do. Every Democrat socialist, every Democrat, you should hire a security. You should. You don't deserve to walk around the way you represent. I mean, I don't know who you represent. You stole an election to get in there, but your time is up. We're clocking you with an egg timer. The fact that you're actually using this performative, discursive, choreographic opportunity to utilize to go after the ambassador to the UN about this war. Like, you give a flying fuck a dog shit. You think that Chinese plan gives a fuck about American soldiers? I want to put him on a T-ball thing and fucking knock his head off. Just like Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger. I want to fucking just chop this fucking guy's head off. Fuck that fucking chink. Fuck him and die. And anybody else who again disparages and it continues on in the performance art of underselling and overselling what? Overstating and underselling what? The deaths of 4 American what? Soldiers, the honored dead in Jordan or Iraq or what have you, and all these other places. And I told you the other day, this is also a pretext why we're going to be stationed out. Just like NATO is starting to what? Remove all these entanglements. We're starting to do that same thing in what? The Middle East. And I think that is what we're also showing. And I don't want to see that anymore. And you know what? I'm sick of fucking what? The Chinese, the Vietnamese, all these people making commentary in such a way that's so disgusting. I mean, that is just embarrassing that you are saying in some way, understanding and calling out the ambassador. What does the ambassador to the UN have anything to do with anything? But again, they're highlighting and what? Protecting themselves and insulating themselves about the Iran war. 18 dead. And they're basically saying, well, look, and I said 18 is not 0 or is not 1. But to utilize them as a prop, to use that as that scale is smaller than what? The past wars and every American what? Death remains a what? A serious national cost that should never, ever be waived or used as what? An agitprop. And they're doing that, and it makes me sick, and it makes me want to put their fucking head on a T-ball thing and play what? Whack-a-mole. Fuck these people. Fuck that Lucky Lou. That's what I call him. Because time is running out on that Lucky Lou. That Asian traitor. Because he is a scumbag. And he's an infiltrator. Bill Mitchell puts this out. Brilliance. The real reason that Trump chose to attack Iran, it's pure mathematics. It's brilliant. Strategic thinking. Senator Haggerty just explained Trump's Iran decision, and it demolishes every democratic criticism. Trump didn't act on emotion or a whim. He ran the numbers. Let's listen to this, and you'll get a better understanding about what we're talking about.
Their program. They've always been in pursuit of a nuclear weapon, and all we wound up doing, again, in 2020 hindsight, was giving the funds to instigate more terrorism and put them back on the path with a little bit of a timeline to have a nuclear weapon. You come forward and you think about what drove the decision for President Trump at the time that he made the decision. It was mathematics.
Listen to this. Listen to
the
this.
Iranians figured out if they could continue to build more cheap ballistics, more cheap drones, at some point they could overwhelm conventional capabilities to take them out. And you know what our capability is, exquisite. Mm-hmm. But when, a ballistic missile comes in, we've got, extraordinary technology that can take it out.
Yeah, that's the THAAD missiles?
In the Patriot systems.
Systems.
We've got several systems that will do it, but they're quite expensive, and the timeline to reproduce them is significantly longer than
So the conflict becomes asymmetrical because they can
does.
produce all these cheap.
Wow. You look at the pace that they're producing these cheap, these cheap ballistics. And at some point, you realize they can, if they overwhelm our ability to stop them, then they have all the time they ever needed to build.
Because they were slow walking. The defense industry was slow walking all this stuff while they sold simultaneously all our infrastructure over to Ukraine, our drone technology, all this other stuff. And the germane, let's just say, push was that as Congress was cementing all this $300 billion or whatever it was. I mean, it's just ridiculous. To fight Russia, we were what? We were depriving and depleting our actual armament and our infrastructure while they were trying to catch up, and knowing full well they can use this against President Trump to undercut this and let Iran get what? A better hand in this deal. And that's what the deal was. Can you believe that? That's what the Democrats are fighting. They want Iran to win. Every Democrat or any Republican that pushes back is an enemy against the people and needs to be taken out. Yes, they need to be taken out. They're a traitor. Absolutely. They're a traitor. They need to be taken out. One shot through the head. I don't care how it happens. Yeah, I'm saying it. They do. You're a traitor. You're seditious and treasonous. Any person, you got money going to Ukraine, not here, and you're rallying about this, need to be taken out. Come knock at my door. Go ahead. You need to be taken out. I'm telling you, you need to be taken out. I don't care who does it. You need to be taken out. You're a fucking traitor. You you spent billions of dollars. You just shipped it out with all the armaments and stuff, but you don't care That 4 fucking Americans or 18 American soldiers were just killed and it's okay. And then you have the gall, the balls to suggest this other than that. Who gives a fuck about Ukraine and the fucking Russian war? Fuck that war. Fuck Zelensky. Fuck that whole place. And you're going to tell me, which started years before Trump got in or after Trump got out, and that was so convenient, and now you want to sell this on the American people, and then you are what? Decimating and obliterating purposely our infrastructure, our defense capabilities and viabilities to what? Increase our Patriot missiles, our defense, our offensive capabilities solely for what? You can what? Destroy this administration, destroy America, and we can lose this war or lose this conflict or in some way, okay, that it would codify your comfortability that you can what? Win an election based upon that. Every Democrat socialist should be, as I'm going to tell you, as I portend to, should be taken out. Every Democrat right now that's running should be taken out. You can parse those words however you think. Put me on some FBI blotter. They're going to be taken out. They're going to be taken out. Now, you can use it as a negative pejorative and saying, well, that's whatever. I'm just saying they need to be taken out. And it's a lot more serious than you think it is. But what he's saying right now is that, keep this in mind, they were comfortable. Our military-industrial complex was comfortable underselling, overproducing for Ukraine, but underselling and not producing for Iran or anything else. It is far more detrimental to our, let's just say, situation than you could possibly imagine for our defense and everything else.
The nuclear program. So as you look at that math, you realize, wait a minute, we're moving in a direction. You can see where it's going. You need to act. And that's exactly where we were. The precise timing, I think, had to do with 40 people being in the wrong room at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. But directionally speaking, you could see where this was going. It had to be dealt with.
It had to be, because they were going to undercut us one way or another. Trump saw this. He knew this was going to happen in some way. It had to be done. While we, dither and placate, their arsenal would be what? Continue on. While what we have expended out in some way, depleted out, and how many missile attacks we've hit. Like I said, since 2007, we've hit Somalia 500 fucking times. I don't know how many times we've hit Iran in the last week, but it's probably more than that. It doesn't matter. You're talking about 5 states that is mountainous region, dug in, like Cheyenne Mountain. It's dug in. We're going to hit surface areas. We're just basically going to obliterate everything. Bridges now, waterways, it's over. They're going to have nothing left. And you know what? At this point, I don't even care anymore. I mean, honestly, nobody cares anymore. You know why they don't care about the people of Iran? Because they're still fucking what? Focused on the Gazans, the Palestinians, and everybody else. They don't care. I don't see anybody. But now that people are trying to make such, let's just say, connections and causal connections about this is the same in some way, and you heard President Trump, we're going to go a little bit harder. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it means. I don't really care. But I think they're going to probably see something they've never seen before, and it's going to be so ugly that ultimately, that whatever falls from this or whatever comes into this, it doesn't even matter anymore. It doesn't affect you and I. I mean, people say, well, it's toggled with the energy crisis and the financial crisis and all stuff. No, that has to do with what? I just reported that on Monday, that they depleted our natural resources. They depleted our oil wells and a lot of different things. What the Biden administration did, the previous administration did, is what? Destroy us. President Trump is basically what? He's moving forward to curtail a future energy crisis. He's nipping it in the bud now. We're not just for the United States of America, and rising us to a better position into the future to be what? The wholly responsible producers. Viable what? Transponders in this matter. He's basically cutting off all the what? The deep, dark, deep state bullshit that continues on with this rotten scenario that we're nestled in. And he's also giving Saudi Arabia a viability. Hey, you want nuclear energy? Yeah, we'll give that. People like, wow, well, Israel's cut out of that. People are like, what the fuck? Well, if they're less reliant on oil and they're more reliant on what? Nuclear energy, it won't be a problem. Think about that and understand that. We'll cover that another time. Let's continue on. Here's another story. We got a lot of time, so don't run out. Don't dip out on me. I'll get to your comments in a second. I just want to show you this. The Trump administration reactivates a secret court for terrorist deportations. Now, Darlell, gift of the can. We are so infiltrated. Even Marco says they're a deep state behind the deep state. Yeah, yes, I saw that. And many people should listen to them. Yes, it's a lot bigger than we can possibly imagine. And I think that there's going to be, from now until midterm election, we're going to see that, let's just say, unfold. And that type of rhetoric gives way to a certain system of, let's just say, protocols that might be in place that they're preparing for our water, our food, and all these other resources to come collapsing down. That's why I was asking, do you believe the cyclospora was just accidental? I don't think so. Do you believe that the Legionnaires' disease is accidental? There's a multitude of things that are happening that no one's covering that doesn't seem accidental, but we're not talking about it in a way we do. We just talk about medically. We're just pointing the finger about bad, Taco Bell and all this other stuff. I think that we should have a better, let's just say, viewpoint, and all eyes focused on the opportunity to suggest that maybe that we're being poisoned at a different level from many different, let's just say, architects that could be involved. So the Trump administration reactivates a secret court for terrorist deportations. Wow. The presiding judge has given Department of Justice until Wednesday to provide further arguments on a case which would be the first brought forward before 1996. The Donald Trump administration has activated a court. I'll blow this up a little bit more. You got to see this. I was like, what the fuck? Donald Trump administration has activated a court that had never been used to quickly deport people and deem foreign terrorists and their immediate family. Wow. Members, on July 15th, the Department of Justice filed a request with Alien Terrorist Reform Act that the first court has received, and since 1996, there is no information available about who the deportation request targets or what arguments that the government has made, because the content has been kept secret as the court's rules require. What has emerged is that the Department of Justice had to submit additional information to the court by Wednesday, which is today at the latest. The district judge who heads the court, Joan Erickson, wrote, questions were raised about the nexus the government alleges exists between the defendant's actions and the specific actions, sections, and subsections it evokes in relation to what? Those actions. Whatever the hell that means. That's a lot of legal jargon. What is that specifically tied to? I don't know. She explained that the answers persuaded the court that the government could benefit from an opportunity to conduct further and more careful consideration. Wow. What's your thoughts about this? A secret court deporting terrorists. I mean, we already have our problem with the illegal criminal courts that are blocking and cock blocking this administration left and right. I just wanted to hear your thoughts about it. Let me say hello to a lot of people out there. Thank you, Darla, for the can. We are so infiltrated. Yes. Sean Joe for the cookie. Darla for the can. I'm so freaking frustrated right now with everything that's going on, knowing time's ticking away for Trump's term. Then what? Business as usual, except you have a target on your back for being a Trump supporter. And if you're white and Christian, I worry about it too. And I ask myself all the time, is this really it? Is he going to left us hanging dry? I just, for the life of me, Darlell, as much as I feel your sympathy here, I don't like to use the term empathy, but I do empathize how you feel, because I am concerned about that too, because knowing full well, you can't leave us high and dry at the end. So I do believe that there'll be a cleanup in aisle 7 very soon. I do. And I think that, we still got about 2 years left, maybe a little bit longer. It's not over completely. And again, I'm a half full guy, not a less, and I'm not a doomer. I'm just not. This is not my way. I'm not a doomer because I can't believe. There are a part of me that just can't process that doomer mentality. Now I can process other things in a different variable, but I can't process that he's really going to leave us high and dry. I just can't. I just can't. I just can't. Thank you, Thea, for the 600 gold pills. Super D, the shades. Egg roll gotta go. Listen, I got no problem fucking chopping that fucking egg roll in half. Curious Cat for the cookie. Darla for the can. I want these foreigners out. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know how to explain how I feel about these people, but I don't look at any. Forget about the violent criminal scum. If you're an illegal here and stuff, and you got a Social Security, you got this, you got that, and you earn a living. Yeah, I like Scott Bissent's idea. We're going to seize it, and then you're going to go home. You're going to cry a little bit, and then you're going to go home. If you don't go home, someone's going to beat you on the way home, and I love it. Thank you, Curious Cat, for the cookie. Darla for the can. I want these foreigners out. Super D for the cookie. Sean Joe for the cookie. All right, let's continue on. I got more. I'm disgusted like you are. I'm angry. I'm frustrated, but I don't really care anymore. I have a different attitude, a different take about how I feel anymore. And the future, the way I see things, is going to be much more that type of vigilante scenario, citizen. We need to be much more bombastic, in your face, crushing these people. These people are not going to go away. Wither and die. We need to get in their face and settle this once and for all. Trump-backed candidates steamroll Arizona. So Andy Gibbs, the primary wins a position in conservatives for a strong push to reclaim the governor's mansion and key congressional seats. Trump endorsed Biggs. Cruz to Republican nomination. He's going to win. The victory sets up high stakes rematch against Democrat governor scumbag Secretary of State, now Governor Katie Hobbs. Two fantastic candidates were endorsed at Phoenix rally. Biggs, a longtime America First. Charlie Kirk supported him. Jay Philly, he was a kicker for the Dolphins, a longtime kicker for the Dolphins. He lives out there. First congressional district race, vacated this from former Arizona Cardinals kicker. He was also Miami Dolphins. Jay Philly. So Jay Philly wills a seat. So there's a couple of other seats that happen out there. President Trump is on a roll. Again, continuing along with that. So if he's really 30%, as Drudge is reporting, if he's really in a dumpster fire, that you really think that he's not able in some way to command a position that people believe, it's just all media talking points. In fact, it's not just a canard. It's a fabrication. It's just agitprop. It's not real. They're just throwing anything they can. Look at his rally in Georgia. I mean, honestly, this guy gets rallies no matter what. So there's no amount of polls that you should in some way believe and manifest that is real, that is happening in some way. All right, let me continue on. All right, we got to go. All right. Okay, let's get into some of the stuff that was ugly yesterday, and that really just set me off. I'm really angry and frustrated. I don't like these senators. I don't like the way they talk. I don't like they use as agitprops about our Marines, our soldiers, or anybody that died. And, anybody that does it, they should look for me, because I'm going to come after you. I don't like you. You make me sick. Anybody that's using the death of these soldiers in some way as a campaign rally, as deception management, agitprop, propaganda, they need to be taken out. They do. They're not deserving of this in some way, and they're disgusting. So, boom, Agriculture Brooke Rollins, secretary, leaves Senator Gillibrand shaking with rage after Rollins calls out New York for selling out farmers. Okay, so this was part of yesterday's discussion. Let's play a little bit of this, and we'll get into other
Secretary Rollins. So
all performative. These people are actors. They're not serious. They don't really care.
Snap. What do you have against hardworking New Yorkers, children who need SNAP, and seniors who need SNAP?
Well, first of all, diesel is down under Biden versus today, 581 versus 480. Gas is down from Biden today from 484 to 386 today. Fertilizer is down 56% from Biden highs.
Prices
so this
are
narrative
higher than
that
when you
are
took
using,
office.
well,
all of those prices are higher than when you took office. So you are not
that
making
is
life
not
better
true.
for
That
New York
is not
farmers.
true, Senator. And let me tell you what New York is stressed out about is the fact that your state is taking prime farmland and turning it into solar farms. That is absolutely inexcusable.
The
For
New York
you to
farmers,
stay,
you will see
I have visited
that
the New York
smart
farmers
farms
two
vote.
times.
Do
Two
vote.
times in upstate New York.
has expired.
Secretary Rollins. So
it was a bloodbath yesterday because Secretary Rollins, with the Secretary of War, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and other people had a multitude of conversations regarding the budget and everything else regarding farmers and military and all this stuff. And I'm just going to play a couple of things. I'm going to show you this. This comes from a news. I want to be clear about this. It's ugly. It's bad about the Iran war. And this comes out. This is Hexit. Is it wild that Democrats are perfectly fine selling billions to Ukraine to fund payroll for their military and pensions for the politicians, but they balk at funding U.S. troops currently in the fight in the Middle East? That's why I couldn't give two shits about the gay faggot Lindsey Graham, because this guy couldn't give two shits about our American military. It's all about that, and I'm glad he's dead. Fuck him. And I don't care about his sister in some way. And maybe she'll be a better person and not being, let's just say, nationalistic, but more about American citizens and her what? Her sovereignty of defending people in her own fucking state. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And you know what? Whatever. Change the 17th Amendment because I don't care. And this is what disgusted me. This is what set me off. So Hexit torches screaming Democrat, fund the troops, blah, blah, blah. This is what I'm trying to say to you. This is what I've been, let's just say, pushing right now. The pushback is often less about denying the math and more about refusing to let the math become only the frame. Only 18 can lead, as these lives don't really count. And yet they're using this agitprop to suggest in some way to downstream costs that never show up in these, kill columns. But long-term PTSD, suicide rates among veterans, recruiting and retention restraint, and quiet erosion of the public willingness to use force at all. The principle that democracy should never treat its service members as expendable simply because the absolute number of one, it's manageable. It is a disgrace. I fucking loathe these people. Come knock at my door. I want these people dead. I want their fucking head on the planters. Every fucking person that pushes back like this, I want him dead. This guy, Senator Gary Peters, in my eyes, you're dead. You're finished. The way you talk about this and use this as a perfunctory way to what? Sell the agitprop as what? Performative mechanism as what? For what? Your re-election? Your scumbag? Someone should behead you, you motherfucker, you piece of shit. And you yelling at the Secretary of War when you guys what? Send money to Ukraine. Who gives a fuck about Ukraine? See, that's the argument. We send billions of dollars to Ukraine. Who gives a fuck about America, right? And it's all being exposed. I'm sick of these people. Hexit, let me tell you right now. Pete Hexit is a fucking warrior. And what he did today, he blasted this motherfucker. He shot his fucking load right in his face. And he goes, suck on this, you cocksucker. I mean, it was much as taking a bat to his head on T-ball. That's as many people want to do. I fucking hate every fucking Democrat. I don't like fucking Rhino Cucks either. I don't like all these people, John Thune, his majority. Fuck all those people. Fuck all of them. Fuck them and die. I mean, at this point and stuff, there's far and few between people that you could trust, that you like, that really matter, that do anything, okay, in some way. And what does it matter? What does it really ultimately matter? If half these people just disintegrated, okay, into the ether, they just disappeared, would you fucking, would you whine and cry? No. You'd be like, give me more. If they just, let's let's just say, self-immolated. Okay? Like Ready or Not. Have you watched the movie Ready or Not 2 or Ready or Not, where they just what? They make the pact with the devil, and if they don't fortify that pact, they just explode. They just, boom. That's what these people are. They're time bombs. They're ticking time bombs because they sold their fucking soul. And listen to this cocksucker. You know what? This motherfucker should be looking over his shoulders. Look over your shoulders. Continue to look over your shoulders. Please do, because you are a fucking scumbag and you are a disgrace on how you look at and direct American soldiers' death and use it as an agitprop. Fuck you and die, you scumbag.
Leadership. When will you show? Why don't you show some leadership and stand up to your fellow Democrats who won't fund the troops, who stand and play partisan politics while you don't give us the money? You want to stand up here and talk about?
Dude, he should have just fucking stood up with a fucking gun and shot that motherfucker. That would have been fucking Hamilton-esque. Fuck those senators. The way that they fucking talk, the way they treat our U.S. servicemen, the way they use this as propaganda, I am just done. I am fucking done. You're a Democrat socialist? You know what? Let's put it this way. You're not going to make it till tomorrow. You're a Democrat? You're going to be in hiding. Because if the socialists don't kill you, the vigilante citizen will. And I'm sick of all these people. If the fucking Secretary of War just stood up and shot this motherfucker, it would have been great. Because that's what it should have been done. That should have exactly happened. Listen to this exchange. Fuck these people and die. You know what? It's over.
The troops, you won't show any political courage to actually fund our department because you have Trump derangement syndrome and can't actually commit to anything meaningful. So I put this on you, Senator.
Secretary Hegseth, you have trillions. You have over $1 trillion. You're asking for $1.5 trillion. It's not a question of money. It's a question of leadership and understanding what it takes to actually win.
Political cowardice of Democrats who.
The fucking fact that cocksucker is talking about money and all this other stuff. They got no problem signing checks to Ukraine. $400 billion. You're a hypocrite and opportunist. And that's what Hegseth, Secretary of War, he's great. He's going to be the governor of Texas. He'll run for president very soon. He's that close. He'll be a governor. Let that happen. Let that happen. And then he'll be on the peripheral in the near future. But the fact that he hit back on this cocksucker is awesome.
Won't fund the troops.
Senator, when will you show leadership? When will you show leadership?
I'm disgusted. Every Democrat, as far as I'm concerned, if you're a liberal, progressive, you got any of these talking points, please don't come. Let's put it this way. Find yourself away from me. Find yourself away from me. Okay? Just do that for your own, let's just say, reality, your own livelihood, your own perception. I don't want to be around you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to hang out with you. And the more and more you speak, the more and more I want to play t-ball with your fucking head. Wow, Secretary Hegseth just obliterated a raging Senate Kirsten Gillibrand, another wingnut. Watch this exchange.
It's true.
Again, the same people towing a line, using the death of these service members to what? To help facilitate, to help what? Create a narrative, to help sell a lie that they are what? They could care less. They could care less about the 4 service members. It drives the narratives. You think Democrats, socialists are fucking care about this stuff? No. So I don't know what people in her own party that she's trying to proliferate in some way to, buy and sell this type of narrative is going to love this, because Democrats, socialists don't care. They don't care if our service members die. They don't care if our cops die. They don't care. They just don't care. They're like, yeah, get rid of them too. You can't take these people seriously from one day to the next.
Was it obliterated or wasn't it? What's the status?
The nuclear sites under Midnight Hammer were obliterated, but Iranians foolishly continued to attempt to pursue nuclear capabilities, which is why we destroyed their defense industrial base and so many of the other capabilities to ensure they can't get to a nuclear weapon. So we're staying laser focused on the objective, and you're trying to make campaign commercials.
No, we're
and
not.
That's fine.
So listen to this. You also say that you made
focused on the objective, and you're trying to make campaign commercials.
No, we're
and that's
not.
fine.
So listen to this. You also say,
while underselling the debts of American servicemen. It's a fucking disgrace. I am absolutely apoplectic about how I feel about this today. What I saw yesterday and today, that's why you go back to my show about how I originally felt about how this stuff is being traded out. If you don't get it, listen to my commentary early on. You will understand it very soon.
that you made the missile program, quote, destroyed and made combat ineffective, quote, Iran's entire ballistic missile production capacity, every company that builds every component of those missiles has been functionally defeated and destroyed, and that the missile program, existing stockpiles were depleted and decimated, almost completely ineffective. So why are there missiles left to hit Jordan and result in the loss of life of our brave men and women?
As we stated from the beginning, the Iranian defense industrial base is effectively gone, but they do have underground facilities because they're the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, and they've spent 47 years trying to hide their missiles under mountains, just like their nuclear capabilities, because they would like to get a nuclear weapon to wield it against us.
Of the war to believe, because it's either over or it's not over. It's within 2 weeks or it's not 2 weeks. We have no missiles or we have missiles, and that consternation is why so many New Yorkers are perplexed, stressed out, and find this war to be incredibly unpopular because they don't understand the choices that the president's making. They don't agree with.
That's such bullshit. I mean, that's so hyperbolic in some way. What really bothers me in some way, New Yorkers don't give a shit. A lot of these people in New York, especially what she's speaking about, are fucking what? They're, Antifa, they're lefties, they're fucking, They bought into all this stuff. We don't know who she's representing and who she's talking about. I don't really know, and I don't really care. But she's selling a narrative because it's election season. Senior Polo gift to the shades. At least Pete Hegseth comes in wearing a suit, asking for money. Bingo. Darla L gifted the can. My resolve would be different if people were held accountable, like mass arrests, drain the swamp, deport these Muslims, fuck them. Forget them. Fuck the Muslims. Our war is against Islam. Yeah, all of it is. But the undercutting of all that stuff is that the leftists, the progressives would sign up with the Muslims. The extreme radical Muslims in some way is completely just nuts. It's crazy. One other, thank you for the can, Senior Polo, for the phone. I'm not black pilling, but I wish Trump would focus more on, or maybe explain better, how he's focused on the U.S. No, listen. That's a good one. And I agree with you. I think the narrative, there's too many narratives. There's too many narratives all over the place because they're dealing with so many things simultaneously. And Senior Polo, I 100%, thank you for the phone, but you're 100% correct. I mean, as much as we could be disgusted about this, we could be focused on that. There's so many things simultaneously that are happening that there might be, I think in some way, many competing truths. Okay, that are happening all over the place. All right, and that yet it's being thrown in our face, and that we're yet to try to figure out. All right, what are we working on here? What are we working on here? And so, thus, the problem is that it's not one single issue. Okay, it's multiple competing, overarching issues that are just proliferating, that are promulgating, that are spreading, that we're dealing with. You got fraud. You got massive, you got Medicare, you got this, you got that, you got the war, you got so many things that are just in our face that we're inundated with, that we're seeing that the United States of American scam is all over the place. I mean, we're a scam country. Have you not recognized that our country has been scammed to death? It's been raped, obliterated, scammed to death. It's ugly. Darla, get to the can. We're so infiltrated. Even Marco says, yeah. Thank you, Sean Joe, for the cookie. I mean, it's beyond anything that we could possibly imagine. And if it wasn't out for this administration, you wouldn't know anything about it. You wouldn't know a goddamn thing. So that's the point. That's where we are from this inference. All right, let me find out where I was. Okay. Yeah, I got to move forward. Okay. All right, let's get into some of the stuff that was on the Hill. I didn't get to cover this As someone that pushes back, I'm sure you guys heard about this yesterday because you guys watch other channels and other platforms, as you should, and that's good. And not just me. Get your opinions and thought processes from various things and formulate, a narrative, an understanding. So a lot of stuff that was happening. And Woke This puts out Smithsonian's white supremacy list, individual self-reliance, blah, blah, blah. Work this before you pay, plan for the future, protect property, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of stuff that the Smithsonian Institute, the Science and Arts were on the Hill, and they were discussing a lot of different stuff. So we will cover some of that. Let me get to that. So apparently, Brandon Gill from Texas, this is Dinesh D'Souza's son-in-law. He's married to a Jeet. Comes out, all over the place. Gill completely stumps Smithsonian Museum African American History director Anita Hartig before asking if Mickey Mouse is racist. So there's a lot of weird stuff that was happening there. I'm not going to play all this stuff. Let's play it.
Would you say that the goal of history is to be
Let's play
objective?
some of it because I'm running out of time.
Thank you, sir, for the question. I think that there are many goals of history, and certainly as you collect, as we do, examine evidence, create
Is
scholarship.
objectivity one of the goals of history?
We strive to be objective and nonpartisan and not based on any
So
ideology.
it's one of the goals. Doesn't that seem a little bit concerning? It certainly does to me, because as part of this white supremacy document that your organization has promoted, objectivity is a core and defining aspect of white supremacy culture. Do you think that it's the goal of the Smithsonian?
If objectivity is the goal of what they're saying in some way, then I'm a racist. You know what? I consider myself a racist, 100%, because everything that's been lobbed out directly to counter this narrative in some way implicates me as being a racist, and I am 100% wholly comfortable and captured with that. I'm all about white America. Make white great again, and that's all I care about. I don't care about anything else, all right? Because the way I see things, the way things are unfolding, unless we fix things like these types of things that continue on putting the black ants and the red ants together and shaking it up, all right, we're never going to get to some, well, let's just say, peace accord, or let's just say resolution that we're not going to kill each other anymore. But there are too many people that are rampant on the streets, that are violent browns and blacks, that have no problem killing white people and getting away with it. And I get called out all the time from that and stuff. I don't want unity with these people. I know that's what President Trump speaks. I know that's what Q speaks, but that's fine. That's what they speak. I don't want that. There's no going back. There's no forgiveness. Oh, I can forgive you and move on. There's none. We have to look at these people as an enemy. We have to look at certain people as a problem. Because in order to move this country forward, certain people have to be whitewashed out, taken out. Because just like what President Trump is doing in the Middle East, he's bifurcating the Middle East, pushing Israel in the back or behind the lines, while other countries are moving up. That's the only way they're going to be able to strive and proliferate, while we simultaneously destroy Iran and, let's just say, beat them to the ground. Why is that any different? Why is that any different? So I don't see our culture or our country proliferating in ways that we all have to be kumbaya in some way. No, I don't want that. I'm never going to want that until you get every illegal cocksucking sponge parasite third world brown and black out of this country. Okay, then I'll start to come around. If you don't do that, well, that's a problem. And then we got to contend with all the American citizens, or the legal, let's just say, quote unquote, all the brown and blackies that, they like to play games in some way, and they think they can get away with it because there's a turnstile justice system because of black judges, or they live in black districts, and they're appointed, and they're DEI hires of prosecutors and all this other stuff. Yeah, doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, there are many people that I know that want to make canoes out of these people's heads. There's no forgoing this. There's no going back and saying, I want peace and harmony. No. I want you in the ground, just like I see all these other people. And it's what? It's incrementally rising. Okay? It's not getting the more and more the left or the crazies are coming out, the more and more that we should be out there hunting them. The more and more we should be target practicing them. There is no way of walking this back ever again. There is no way that we're going to be unified as one whole, okay, a brethren, a brown, black, and white. It's not going to happen. Too much water under that bridge, dirty water on the bridge. It's not. We're going to have, it's going to be, it's going to be sectorial. People want, I don't want to be around you. Low IQ, low EQ, don't want to be around you. Don't want to be around you. You're a problem. You're not smart enough. You smell like shit. You're not going to work for anything. You just, no one wants you around. And I think that the more and more that things are going to unfold, the better things are. And, the idea that these people are going to leave on their own for a lot of different reasons, okay, we'll cover that.
Institution to promote white supremacy culture.
Sir, do you mind sharing with me which document?
White supremacy culture right here. This is part of the mass action toolkit that your organization has promoted for several years now under your leadership. Are you promoting a white supremacy culture? You don't want to answer this.
She's just writing shit down.
Am I promoting a white?
Ma'am, is this a difficult question?
No, sir. I'm just thinking about the mass action toolkit. We didn't develop it, but back to your question, no, we're not promoting any ideology.
Does it concern you that your goal is objectivity? One of your goals is objectivity, and your mass action toolkit references objectivity as a defining characteristic of white supremacy culture?
I'm a white supremacist.
It's not our toolkit.
I'm okay with that.
It is your toolkit. You've been promoting it for quite some time.
It's okay. If you're white and you want to be a supremacist in your area and you don't want these people around, it's totally fine. It's okay. You should feel that way, because the rest of those people that we talk about on a daily basis, they will end you. If you don't watch your back, watch your six, protect yourself. And what he's saying is that when you have these race traders, these infiltrators in some way, promoting this,
It is
putting
used
this
as a
into
reference,
museums,
I believe, probably
okay, as an art, as a reality, as an expression.
Under your leadership, it has been used as a reference. Is Mickey Mouse racist?
Mickey Mouse is not racist.
It's not racist. According to the Smithsonian institution, one of your exhibits referenced Mickey Mouse as representing, quote, vestiges of longstanding traditions of blackface minstrelsy. Would you describe that as racist?
No, the historical trajectory of the origins of Mickey Mouse tied directly
so Mickey Mouse is rooted in racism. Is that your testimony?
No, sir, it's rooted in minstrelsy.
Minstrelsy, you don't think that blackface minstrelsy is racist?
It had certain unobvious racial overtones that have been well documented.
You think that that's problematic, that Mickey Mouse also has those racial overtones?
It's not for me to determine what's problematic. It's determined to me what's accurate.
Is that right?
Yes,
is it important to be polite?
There we go.
Excuse me, sir?
Is it important to be polite?
Yes, sir.
It's also interesting because the same mass action toolkit that your organization has been promoting references politeness as a defining characteristic of white supremacy culture.
So I guess since I'm not polite, I'm not a racist then, according to her toolkit in some way. Maybe I should say, please, thank you in some way, which I do in some way. But I think that bitch that is involved, that's basically the person that's running the Smithsonian and all these other things that were there yesterday talking about this stuff. I'm going to get to more stuff. So Nancy Mace has a brutal takedown in this stuff. Are images of sexual fetishes appropriate for children at the Museum of Natural History? Look, the Museum of Natural History, the Smithsonian, the Arts and Sciences are all co-opted. Just drop a bomb in there. Just blow it up. It's garbage. The people that run it, that's why Trump pulled them all, fired them all, and he's firing all these people. They're running all these different things that people go through. 2 million people a day or whatever it is go see the Smithsonian and they read this stuff. And you wonder why the vitriol and the violence. You know what? You only own two choices. Either just vanquish it out, blow it up, or fire all these people, put new people in there with new instructions to what? Tell the truth. Honestly, this is why I don't go to museums, natural history, art and stuff. I don't care about all this stuff anymore. Okay? All these libtards, all these people that are lefties, progressive, always is selling you a talking point. Okay? I want to live my own commune. I want to think about the way I feel things. I don't care about certain historical things that have been co-opted, or I want to look at fucking pictures or paintings or all these other things. Listen to Nancy Mace.
Visited the National Museum of American History last year.
Hi, good morning, ma'am.
Answer the question, how many kids?
Good morning, ma'am. Since we don't charge,
Are you the director of the museum?
I am, ma'am.
Okay, and you don't know how many people visited the museum last year?
2 million.
How many of those were children?
Ma'am, I don't
even know. Okay.
For you, but I'm happy
do you agree that educating children about American history is a core duty of the museum? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
And are images of sexual fetishes
There we go.
appropriate for children? Yes or no?
So, ma'am,
it's a simple yes or no. Or is sexual imagery, provocative sexual imagery, appropriate for kids? Yes or no?
No.
Ma'am,
Can't answer.
we strive to represent all Americans.
Another one.
You strive to represent.
This is why T-ball is great for kids, because when you put the heads of these people on it and you play ball like your Michael Myers or Jason or what have you and stuff, you get the idea and understanding is that no matter what, they're never going to answer these questions. They're never going to relegate. They're never going to admit the truth, okay? That they're sexually, in some way, explicitly exploiting our children. And by pushing this narrative out there, got us to the transgenderism, got us to this Frankenstein moment in history. And history will look back upon us, all of us, and hold us all accountable for what has taken place and said, how did you allow this to happen when we should have been out there gunning them down, taking them out? We should have been, just like they do to us. We should have been. And why aren't we? We're just exposing them. Are they going to jail? They're being fired. Is anything fucking really happening? Are we ever going to see anything that's really going to happen? Because there are people like, I don't know, Ollie. I don't know. Every day I wake up, I don't know. It's Abbott and Costello. It's this, it's that. Who's on first? Yeah, Casey Snowman. That's why I call them niggers. Yep. And that's probably why they are.
Queer, pedophiles, indoctrination.
That's why I call them pedophiles.
At an American
She's right.
History Museum. And it sounds like you're proud of it. You won't answer the questions.
She's proud of
You're
it.
ashamed.
Exactly.
And as a woman, I really can't believe you will sit here today and you can't even admit that sexual imagery like this behind me, they tell me, my staff tells me, this little trinket around the penis, this is BDSM.
What the fuck is that?
In a setting where children are walking through. That's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of message are you trying to send to kids with BDSM imagery? What are you trying to tell kids? Are you sexualizing children? Is that what your motive?
Of course
is
they
for the
are.
Museum? Why?
Look at her
So
smile.
that specific two-piece.
Do you know how many kids get raped by adults every year in this
Oh, this is
country?
brutal.
This kind of thing, when you are dressing men up as women, drag queens, you're putting this kind of crap in front of kids, sexualizes them and makes them more vulnerable to people that want to rape them.
Boom. Great job, Nancy Mace. Not a big fan of her per se. I know she's got her issues, but she handled it quite exclusive. She hit it on the head. She basically said, there's no other reason to put this sexual perversion up. It's not. I mean, you might as well put porno mags, okay, in there as you're going by for the kids to read, as for their illustration, as their syllabus. I mean, what's the point anymore? What are we doing? Again, we sit there and we have to in some way defend and bifurcate and go through the process of like understanding what the fuck is happening. Why are we even discussing this in a matter that like we should, to give them an opportunity to defend themselves? It's smut. It should be pulled down. That's what we know what it is, and we know what they're doing. But it's okay because they're doing it. And since they're okay, we got to give them quarter. You know what? I'm just sick of giving the gays, the blacks, the Jews, the fucking brown, everybody gets a pass. But white Christians, no, you don't get a pass. We are in very holy Roman times. I wouldn't even say that per se. I mean, we're in a Crusades time. We're dealing with so many different fucking issues left and right. I don't even fucking care anymore. Don't roll up on me. Black, brown, gay, whatever. Don't. I mean, honestly, I'd rather use a baseball bat because it would feel good. It would feel good to drain the living fucking essence of blood from you because you're scum. For that broad to sit up there and say, it's okay. Well, we're sexualizing children. And she can't even answer the fucking question. That's what we get. We are in such a fucking what? Dogmatic time. History is going to look back for those who did not what? Fix this problem. Who were not there at the forefront and said, this is wrong. Those should be burned in the lake of fire. I don't know what heaven and hell is about a level of Dante's Inferno, about punishment, what we didn't do enough, what we didn't lack. But the idea that there is not enough people to push back against this evil, it is disgusting. And yet it permeates everything, it undercuts everything, and then every time we talk about this and we fight back, we're called a racist, we're called a sexist. I'm sick of it. We are all those things, all entwined, and I'm fully culpable of all of it. So if you want to say it, so be it. I got no problem. I don't want you in my rearview mirror. I don't want you in my front mirror. I want to beat you back to the caves that you should be, what? Aligned to, where the demons should go back, where you could seal up. These people should have no quarter in our country talking like this matter, and then serve positions, okay, in government that act like this. This is why we have gone so batshit crazy. Here's another one. MJ Truth. It's appropriate to sell paraphernalia that says Latino power. Here we go. Again, selling the narrative that it's okay with the illegal criminal alien scum. It's beautiful. But if you say white power, you're a racist. I say white power all the time. White power all the time. Make it white. If it ain't white, it ain't great. It ain't great. Because everything else is shit. When I take a shit, does it look white? What does it look like? Brown and black. I digress, but let me continue.
What is Latina power?
What is Latino power?
Latina power.
Latina power would be the forces derived from being a Latina.
Do you think that it's appropriate for the Smithsonian Institution?
What the fuck are the forces being derived? What does that mean? The forces being derived from Latino power. What the fuck is that?
To sell Latina power paraphernalia, hats, mugs, other things that say Latina power.
I believe that the merchandise our store sells.
I'm asking you if it's appropriate.
Tries to reflect the richness of.
She can't even say it's appropriate. She can't even say it's not appropriate.
Those are your words, sir.
Oh, it's his words.
Is it appropriate to sell Latina power paraphernalia? It's a yes or no question.
I don't have control over what is.
I'm asking you if it's appropriate. I didn't ask you.
See, she doesn't want to admit that it's okay because she knows the answer is wrong. But yet she wants to proliferate with her comedic, smug look of smiling and say, yeah, it's okay. She wants to say it's okay, but she knows she can't say it's okay because she knows it's wrong. Even though she doesn't give a fuck. That's the point. These people are scum. Heads on a T-ball. Let's play ball. Play ball.
we have control over it. Is
I
it
understood,
appropriate?
sir. Yeah.
Yes or no?
Again, we strive to represent all Americans.
No, she doesn't. No. She tries to represent everything that's not white America. Period. The end, ladies and gentlemen. She tries to represent everything that's not. See, this is why I get in here. This is why I get interfaced. This is why when the black and brownies or white people pushing this line against white Christians about white America, that's when the racist Brett, the We Arise racist comes out. Because I'm defending white nationalism. I'm defending white Christianity. And that's when this comes out. And then we point this out. And when you see that, oh, it's still not acceptable. It is totally acceptable to call this bullshit out. Look at this shit. Brandon Gill says, what's a black job?
What is a black?
Hey, look, if there are black jobs described, okay, because I heard this in an argument, well, it's sanitation workers. Well, they're not picking up my shit. Or the Mexicans or the Latinos in some way. You put the garbage out and they do a half-ass job. So do we have to hire other people? So what the fuck is a black job? This is great. This actually underscores what I'm talking about.
Black job.
You'd have to ask Donald Trump.
I'm not sure.
Why do you got to ask Donald Trump?
I'm referring to a statement that you made a year ago on your LinkedIn. I was so honored and proud to be a New York State delegate for our next president, with Vice President Kamala Harris ascending to her black job.
Donald Trump made a comment that was very stereotypical about black people, and it was a joke about his stereotypical statement about black people.
What is a black job?
You'll have to ask Donald Trump.
Well, Donald Trump's not on the witness stand. So
well, and I'm here to talk about hate crime, which I hope you want to talk about as well.
See, now she says it's a hate crime because now she's referencing that President Trump talks about black jobs, and that's a hate crime. That's what she's trying to now move into this performative art and say, well, President Trump mentions what a black job is. I'm here to talk about hate crime. Well, how are you going to talk about a hate crime when you don't know what a black job is? But you know what a hate crime is. And what you're trying to say is that President Trump discussing or describing or outlining what may be a black job is racist. That's what she's trying to say.
I can clarify that.
I'd like to hear from the witness, but I appreciate it. Could Hillary Clinton have filled that black job? What you call
you have to ask Donald Trump.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
You have to ask Donald Trump because again, they're still towing that racist line. They still don't know what you don't know what a woman is. You don't know what a black job is, but you know what racism is. You got no problem defining racism because your attitude about racism is what? What President Trump defines as a black job. Here's a black Republican, a conservative, who's probably smarter than half all the people that were testifying that were white and black, and says this, which I thought was just blew me away. There's some people with IQs over 80 that get it. So the Justin News put it out. If I played a drinking game every time I heard the word white or white supremacist while watching CNN, I would be drunk after an hour. This comes from Wesley Hunt from Texas. No wonder why. He's from Texas. Crucifies a partisan media network and political opponent. Listen to this shit.
Game. And every time I heard the word white or white supremacist while watching CNN, watching MSLSD, NBC, or listening to my colleagues on the left talk about white supremacy and white people all day, every day, I would be drunk after an hour and I would die of alcohol poisoning. What are we talking about? This is about protecting every single American, regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed. And I can assure you, as I have said in this room many a day, I've been black for my entire life. I'm not a white supremacist. What I want to do is be safe in my own communities, regardless of what you look like.
And you know what? I agree with the congressman. I want to be safe in my own communities, especially when I look white. So he's not so dissimilar of my talking points. But I guess the narrative and how people get drunk on this illusion that all white people are racist, when in fact that white people commit the less crimes of murder, rape, and all the assaults, until people get that driven through their heads, then they'll understand who the real racists are. Yeah, no, dog. If it ain't white, it ain't right. And again, I will hold that to everybody's feet. If it ain't white, it ain't right, because that's the only way out of this, ladies and gentlemen. It's the only way out of this. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, is that you'll never get it. All right, let me move on. We're running out of time. All right, let me get to one last thing. Okay, let me get you your commentary, because Darla, gift to the can. Jews are celebrating the death of our children. More blood for them and their breed. They admit to feeding on us and our own children. I know that sounds impossible, but they do it. Yeah, I mean, the whole idea is that we can't talk about all this other stuff. And there are certain people on this platform, it's Pilled or Rumble or all this stuff. He's like, yeah, you're still talking the Jew line and blah, blah, blah. That line has never gotten away. No one is walking away from the fact that AIPAC in some way bribes and cajoles and blackmails our congressmen and senators. No one's I'm not walking away from that premise at all, or that predicate. Absolutely, that is happening. And the idea that they want to merge military controls between Israel and the United States, which is in the Senate right now, is a disgrace in some way. Yeah, I'm against that too. Yeah, I'm 100%. What does that make me? Does that make me an anti-Semite? Well, then so be it. If I'm against something, I'm an anti-Semite. If I'm against something, if I'm against something that doesn't benefit America, doesn't benefit American citizens, maybe white Americans, somebody, then I'm just a racist and I'm all this stuff in general. Then so be it. I'm okay. I'm fine, baby. I'm okay. I align with a greater packadillo of people that are vigilante justice. And I don't care about that stuff. MAGA is not. We will be, because if MAGA doesn't fix the problem, so to speak, well, then you know what? And they're leaving us with the colostomy bag at the end of the shit show, and we got nothing else but holding that. You better fucking damn well believe it's going to get ugly. Wood USA, thank you for the 719 gold pills. Need more gold pill love. Darlo, gift to the can. Their toolkit involves a hatchet that chops dicks off, no way, of our men. Notice they're most likely white males. See, I was trying to understand that too, but the predicate and the stuff that Brandon Gill was laying out, they were trying to leave out some of that supposition, are angry because they get no satisfaction. So shoot up a school. That clearly might be the place that he was leading to. Thank you, Senior Polo, for the shades. At least Pete Exit comes in wearing a suit. Yeah, well, wearing a suit, like, unlike the piece of shit, from Zelensky. I mean, this bagel, this fucking cokehead. I mean, the fact they send money there and they piss on our fucking soldiers and they utilize this and they cauterize the rune in some way to suggest that this is okay. I'm not okay with it. Go back and watch my introduction. Here it is. Here it is. This is the last part of our show, which is one bridge, one ship. This comes from Anti-War. This is President Trump's narrative, one ship, one bridge, Trump's new red line. Trump threatens to destroy one bridge or power plant in Iran. And remember, we talked about it on Monday, that the gloves were never off, okay? They were playing patty cake. They were doing as much as they can to hit targets that were isolated enough that wouldn't impact the infrastructure to the people. And I was completely right. And I was discussing that the new narrative on Monday, if you go back and watch that show, and then on Friday, that they were trying to cajole, move this discussion, this talking point, this perception management into what? Nuke them and dip out, or invade or dip out. And here we are right now with all this stuff that's being, let's just say, coming to the surface. So here we are. The Iranian official responded by saying Iran will target infrastructure if there are more attacks. President Trump said he threatened to destroy a bridge or a power plant. And he's telling people in Tehran, get out, dip out. We're about to hit the capital. Dip out. Where do they go? I don't know. How far are we going to go in Tehran? So far, the gloves off, the gloves on, wax off, hasn't been working. So how far do we go and just take down the capital? I mean, if it was World War II or other places, Vietnam, we wouldn't care less. But why do we care now? Why is it? Because President Trump doesn't want innocent people to get killed. But he's probably showing them, look, if we do this in some way and you still don't capitulate, you still don't surrender, the next phase is to take out Tehran. And we might have to do it. We probably should have done it. But at this point, does it really make a difference anymore? Do you really care? Because no one really cares. Democrats don't care. They're using the war against President Trump. They're saying 18 dead soldiers. They're using it campaign rallies. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. If we light this place up, we make it glow at night. Okay? It'd be glowing. You know what I mean by that. But from this point forward, anytime Islamic Republic of Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether by missile, rocket, drone, blah, 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 device, weapon, the United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant at a time, including those located next to in the capital of Tehran. So we've left pretty much the area of Tehran off, and now Tehran is now on the map. In response, an unnamed Iranian official quoting Iranian media said, Iran will respond to any further attacks and infrastructure. I think it's over. Iran's Mehr news agency said the military resource said warning that the Americans target bridge or power plant, Islamic Republic would reciprocally attack infrastructure and bridges. I mean, look, 4 dead soldiers because they hit Jordan, they hit Iraq, and they were stationed there. And also, I think it's a discussion that these areas where American forces are, as Pete Hegseth was being attacked under duress about this through senators, we're going to pull out of these places. You're probably going to see less and less American soldiers in these areas because they're not going to be protected by Jordanians, or Saudis and so on. We might not have a feasible and viable opportunity to want to be staying there from not just the legal precedents, but from a reality of understanding is that they're not there really to protect us. They look at it as an occupying force anyway. Whether it's a bridge to build or something to, make a partnership happen. This is no different from NATO. This is also our decoupling effect. And President Trump is showing while our viability and possibility and availability and answerability to be in these regions are not worth the cost because of the death toll is being showcased right now. This is a prima facie example of understanding why NATO is a problem. When we're doing it in Iraq, that we don't need to be in Jordan or Qatar or Kuwait or Iraq. And that's why we're pulling out. And I think this is exactly what you're seeing. The source said that U.S. must have reached full confidence in the past 10 days. U.S. bombed at least 3 bridges in Iran. Trump has repeatedly threatened massive strikes, blah, 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 Iran's nuclear activities. What I'm saying is right now, we're going to hit Iran or Tehran, the capital, and we're going to create an infrastructure problem there, which is really going to be unsettling. And this is probably going to be the final blow in a lot of different levels. And whoever's there remaining will pay a price. You might as well get out. You might as well dip out. Go to Syria. Go somewhere else. Go to Turkey. Go whatever you got to do. You got to get out. It's not going to work. And I think that, again, the idea the gloves were off, they were never off. He was playing patty cake with these people. And how deep nestled in they are like ticks. It's just a matter of time. We'll probably take Carg Island, seize the port area. We should. Doesn't matter. But if we stranglehold them, where they're really only 4% of the world's oil transference and stuff, not really 20%, maybe 20% and other stuff, and we cut that partition off, all these other NATO countries and all these people that are proxies of Iran will be, disillusioned, disavowed. I mean, that's what it is. They all get a cut. And when that cut goes away, they don't really care anymore. They're not going to care about the people. They're not going to care about the region. What difference will it make? And no one really cares. Okay, our last and final thing, because we're past our time. I'll give you a little stuff that's regarding, I think, make you feel good. I don't know. Let me lower this a little bit. Someone's like, your music's loud. I like the music. A lot of people like the music. Stop your bitching. Okay. I'll play this. This is the last of our talking points tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you all for supporting the platform. I want to leave you with this. This comes from Pepe Deluxe, and I thought this was a pretty good discussion about how we see things regarding our reality, our situation. If you want something that will send a chill down your spine when you're talking about biblical end times, here you go.
Throw them off buildings in Gaza. That makes no sense. Do you know what it is? It's delusional. You want something that'll send a chill down your spine when you're talking about biblical end times? Here you go. So in John 16, Jesus says about the end, the time is coming when they will kill you and think they are offering service to God. That verse says the final boss is going to be some form of religion that when they kill Christians, they think they're doing something holy and that their God is pleased with. Clue number one. Number two, fast forward to Revelation chapter 20. John is given a vision. This is what he says he sees. The souls of those who had been beheaded because they, watch this, they refused to worship the beast. In John 20, the beast is the Antichrist. There is one religion and one religion only whose quote unquote holy book specifically prescribes beheading as the preferred way to kill infidels is Islam. The Quran calls it striking necks. Let's go a layer deeper. If you go to 2 Thessalonians 2, 9 through 12, Paul is telling this church, he talks about something that's called a strong delusion. He says the coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with how Satan works. He will use all sorts of displays of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie, and all the ways that wickedness deceives those who are perishing. They perish because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, listen real close, God sends them a powerful delusion so that they will believe the lie and so that all will be condemned who have not believed the truth but have delighted in wickedness. And a mass number of people will be given over to a strong delusion to believe a lie that the Antichrist promulgates. There are things that I'm already seeing in our culture right now with regard to Islam that I'm like, the only word for that right there is delusional. This whole deal where there's like this weird unholy alliance between progressivism and Islam, it makes no sense. It is literally delusional. So the people who are about women's rights, supposedly, are partnering with the people who make women wear burqas and beat them if they don't cover their hair. The people who are supposedly about LGBT rights, it's like, you know, queers for Palestine. It's like saying queers for Palestine is like saying chickens for KFC. It's like the people who are supposedly about quote unquote LGBT rights are partnering with people who throw them off buildings in Gaza if they come out. The people who are supposedly for sexual liberation are partnering with the people who give death penalties to people in predominantly Islamic nations for sexual expression. And the people who are supposedly about free societies are partnering with the people who want to bring in Sharia law. That makes no sense. Do you know what it is? It's delusional.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I'm going to drop this in the chat because someone said, can you well? Let me just thank Darla L, thank you for the cookie. Everyone starts stocking up. 10 days of darkness could happen. Lots of sleepers in our country. Yeah, I think the more push that we get into Iran, the more and more we see the unhinged left. I had other stuff, and I will cover it on Friday. Super D gifted the can. Brett, you're right. We got a lot of problems on tonight. This is just a few. Yeah, I know. I know it is. And I dropped the pills. Let me get out of this, and I'll put this in the chat. A lot of people like, I like this. Can I have this? And I'm like, of course you can have it. Of course. Sharing is my pleasure. All right. There's nothing that anybody owns that puts this out there. What's up, Naw Dog? If the police have been making in the reports that Mexicans, South Americans are white when they commit crimes too, make white crimes look like that or arise. Yeah. If it ain't white, yeah. I mean, I understand. What's up, Tracer C4? Metal Mama, how you doing? Yeah, I see everybody out there. I see everybody out there. Okay, so I put that out there. You guys can see that. Let me get this out of here. I dropped that in the chat. What's up, Linda Perino? Yeah, my son is disabled vet. I always stand with the military. Yeah, you know what? Hats off to you, Linda. Hats off to you and your son. Thank you for his sacrifice. Thank you for everything that's happened. And what I was trying to say, Linda, and don't get me wrong, okay? We have family members all over that are in my family, my wife's, people are deceased, that are some active. I had friends that went to Iraq, were USA members. I have people that were in World War I, Civil War, from the ancestry that we trace back. I'm disgusted in so many ways because how we trivialize this stuff and how they're blaming President Trump and utilizing this because of the things he said. Making a comparison analysis, okay? It's like if I'm a realtor, which I am, and I'm showing two homes to somebody out there, and I'm saying, all right, this home is this much, this home is this much, this is the square footage, this is what the roof is. I'm going to show you all the differences each has, okay? And then you're able to what? Discern which one you like the best or which one that you understand has the least amount of problems and the other one that has, let's just say, the most maximization of an up scenario, okay, in order to purchase or what have you. I think what President Trump was trying to do and how the media keeps spinning the narrative, which is also, I think, in places that he was showing that Vietnam, which the number was incorrect. They said it was 50. It was 58,000. Korea was 36,000. Iraq, 4,500. And he was showing Afghanistan, 24. What he's trying to do is saying, look, we're here not even 4 months, okay? 18 soldiers died. He's not downplaying it. He's like, look, that is what? That's sheer what? Not luck. That's people that were in charge that care about our American soldiers, okay? Whether we're abroad, at other places and other locations, or they're operational, okay? They care about their life, all right? Their life has meaning, that has weight, that has quarter. And we're not going to use them as expendable toy soldiers. That's the key. And that's what a lot of people are missing. The other thing is, I think in some way that people are also not, let's just say, contemplating is understanding as simply as that what President Trump is doing. All right. He's showing what a ground invasion looks like versus doing things his way and how the military sees fit. They're not going to tell you if there are JSOC installations of people on the ground in all these places under 2,500, under 1,000, under 500. They're not going to tell you that. And yes, they're keeping things more close to their vest because, as you could see, the media spins it out in some way. They're talking about, well, there's 500 injured. Do you know how many people were injured in Iraq and Afghanistan? Thousands. Okay? And they had no problem reporting that. The war was a failure to begin with. There was no goal. We didn't achieve anything in Iraq. We didn't achieve anything in Afghanistan. Okay? Tell me what we got out of those things. I don't know. I'm sure the CIA was happy with the poppy fields and the increase of selling heroin. But it doesn't matter. I don't know what we got out of fucking Iraq. And we hit the wrong country. It should have been Iran at that time. Anyway, I digress. I'm sick of discussing this and defending this position. It makes me sick overall, and you should be too. The way they're using our American servicemen, our military, in any position to postulate a theory that they are trying to utilize and saying that the Trump administration is saying their lives are expendable. They're not. They're not showcasing it. The mainstream media is, the fake and gay news media, the leftists are doing this in some way. And the way they portray this narrative, it is absolutely disgraceful and disgusting. And I will have no part of it, and I have no problem calling them out. Everybody chuck a grenade in their house. Fuck them and die. Honestly, don't vote for a Democrat. Stay away from these people. They're horrible people. They hate you. They hate our culture. They hate our country. They hate our servicemen, and they will do everything they can to use this agitprop as a narrative to undercut the Trump administration. It is just, it's an embarrassment. It's a fucking embarrassment. Thank you for the Thea, for the cookie. We're out of here. Good night. Be well, be safe, be smart. Ciao, Bella. I'll see you Friday night for the live call-in stream.